Do they need to make a change that significant? Does Jerry Jones need to change coaches?
Yes. And G, it really has nothing to do. You know, I've said on the network and talked about Mike McCarthy winning 12 games 3 years in a row. That's not something to bat an eye at or something to walk away from easily. I think the Green Bay game just signified how unprepared Dallas was, which was shocking to me. Unprepared mentally as far as being ready to play, unprepared schematically. And think about this, Matt LaFleur walked in there with a first-time starting quarterback and went up and down the football field on this Dallas Cowboy team. Now, the unfortunate part is, as a head coach, you take the brunt of that blame. And Mike McCarthy, at times, I've defended because we've talked about his job, and he's done a tremendous job in the regular season. But it's all about circumstance and context. And what Troy said, there's an opposite argument to that. And obviously, that's a part of the argument which he made, which is true. Yeah, you might not want to go through a new situation or a new coaching staff, or you might not want to move forward. The bottom line is this. If Jerry, one, is willing to give Bill Belichick the authority that you need to have in order to run an organization without the interference of the owner becoming a polarizing figure, and it just becomes about winning, it's the best move you can make. Because the one thing we've always made synonymous with Bill Belichick is that his team is going to be prepared. And he would have a quarterback that's a significant upgrade over what he's had. But when it comes to Mike McCarthy, which was hard for me to say because I'm a Mike McCarthy fan, the unpreparedness of the Dallas Cowboys in the playoff game against Green Bay is all about coaching, unfortunately. And that's him and Dan Quinn. But Dan Quinn is not the head coach.
That's exactly right. And look, none of this is personal. This has nothing to do with Mike McCarthy. He's I'm sure, a terrific human being. We sit here and we judge the jobs that people do. And in that situation, you are judged by what happens in your final game. When it goes that badly, the judgment is sometimes going to go in this direction. So Kmart, look, I'm not a detective, but sometimes I put a few things together. Jerry Jones has had ample opportunity.
Yes.
If there was no question Mike McCarthy was coming back as his coach, he's had ample opportunity to say that. That game was on Sunday. Today is already Wednesday. He hasn't done it. That's one thing, too. Bill Belichick is out there. I will be shocked, absolutely shocked, if there has not been at least some communication, back channel, all that kind of stuff. Right?
Hit me on the two-way. You already know those conversations. Yes.
Whatever the lingo is, are we hitting me on the two-way?
No, we don't say that now. No.
Okay.
That's don't say that
whatever
now.
Whatever it is we're saying. Is that like breaker 19? I see about whatever it is we're doing here. I'm going back to Smokey and the Bandit, which is before anyone else but me in this conversation was born. Anyway, the point I'm making is, I'm telling you right now that what Marcus is saying is exactly what's happening. And Troy Aikman said it too. Bill Belichick to the Cowboys makes too much sense not to happen.
I love Belichick to the Cowboys. However, it is clear that the Cowboys have not been good enough. We understand that. But if you're Jerry Jones, if you think you can get Bill Belichick, then you get Bill Belichick. But if you can't, who else are you getting? I think it's easy to say Mike McCarthy is not good enough, but you got to have the answer that comes after that. Who's his replacement? Now, one thing I understand what Troy is saying, the fact that, I don't think this is going to happen. I wouldn't expect it to happen. I think Jerry Jones has been loyal to a fault sometimes. He's kept coaches longer than he probably should have. I understand his age. And I understand right now would he want to go through another coaching regime and a search and all of that. Those are a lot of unknowns. But he might say, this isn't the guy. And I can't waste any more time seeing if this will work.
Yeah, I fully agree. I think, listen, when you think about McCarthy, and I've said this, I mean, to move on, to fire people is easy.
Yes.
Hiring is the most difficult, right? And unless you know you're going to hire someone who's better than Mike McCarthy, is going to give you more than 12 wins a game, which I'm saying is going to be very difficult, you better have Belichick. And so the issue for Belichick, I think he would be fantastic in Dallas. I think it would work with Jerry. I think all of those things. My question would be, what's the holdup, right? If you're pursuing it now and you're having the conversations, which they're being had, like whatever the rules are, whatever they're not, rest assured you got billionaires, they're going to get a deal done, right? Like they don't wait around. So there has to be conversations being had. I would just say the hesitation to say, hey, I'm with Mike McCarthy would lend me to believe that Something more is absolutely
That's exactly right. Conversations are taking place. And look, I'm not a lawyer, but I easily could have been one. And the point of it is that the first thing they teach you in law school is you never ask a question you don't already know the answer to. You don't fire a coach unless you already have the next one ready to go. Those conversations somewhere along the line, Marcus, are taking place. I think that is standard operating procedure.
Absolutely.
It's just sort of the rules of the road here. So, Marcus, to me, Belichick to the Cowboys makes all the sense in the world. I don't think it's about control over personnel. I don't think it's about anything else. But Jerry Jones can hand Bill Belichick the two things he wants. He wants a roster that is ready to win right now, and he has a roster that has a chance to win a championship. He can get his 15 wins, he can win his title, and he can go off into the sunset as the greatest coach of all time. It makes too much sense from both sides.
But let's also remember, and I went off about this on Monday Night Countdown. Let's also remember who the owner of the Dallas Cowboys are. We've said his name for 100 times. How much are you willing to move aside and allow Bill Belichick to handle this organization like we saw him handle the New England Patriots? Because when we just start talking about Bill Belichick on the field, we all know what can happen. We all seen him have a tremendous amount of success. We've never seen Bill Belichick deal with an owner that's going to do an interview before he walks in the locker room. We've never seen him deal with an owner that's going to be on the radio all week long leading into a game. And I'm telling you, I came from this coaching tree. I played for Nick Saban and I played for Bill Parcells. I played for Bill Parcells when he was in Dallas. There were a lot of things he did not like about how the organization was ran, and he did not have control over changing it. So as much as we talked about the coaches, I was there with Bill Parcells. I was there with Wade Phillips. I was there with Jason Garrett. I believe Jerry Jones thought every one of those moves was inching him closer to a Super Bowl. But guess what never changed? Jerry Jones. And that's the thing. We could relent about Bill Belichick. We could talk about it. We know he's a great coach. What is he willing to deal with?
But here's what I would say about the Belichick conversation. This ain't forever. He ain't coaching 24 more years, bro. This dude's gonna be here maybe 2 or 3. If he gets that victory and they have a team, it does not have to be a marriage, bro. He's just dating, right? He's literally dating them. That's all you're doing, right? You got 2 years in this thing, bro. Pack it in, bring the next one in. Let's go get it. That to me makes the most sense. He don't want to be coaching forever either.
Something needs to be said. Swagu, I love you, and you're right. But let me ask you a question. Is Jerry Jones doing an interview the reason that Jordan Love carved up that defense the other day, the reason they couldn't stop the run, the reason that Dak looked like he had never played a big game before in his entire life? Let's stop blaming Jerry Jones for the Cowboys not being prepared to play the one game of the season that mattered the most, Marcus. Go ahead.
No, you're right. You're right when it comes to being prepared. When we sat on your set all year long after Leighton Vander Esch got hurt, did we see a linebacker get signed by the Dallas Cowboys?
No.
Right. Do we see a running back?
Who's the general manager?
Yeah. So they
Who's the general manager?
Yeah, that's Jerry. But that's not what we're talking about, because other teams' GMs don't.
There's a lot of blame to go around, and you along with other people I've had this conversation with. Just go back and look at the last 4 or 5 Super Bowl champions. Look at how aggressive they've been about getting championship caliber players. Dallas has stood pat. They signed Stephon Gilmore. Great. Stephon Gilmore is a really good cornerback. Did we think that was going to put them over the hump as winning the Super Bowl? No. I have said on this show time and time again and told y'all that Dallas roster is an issue when you get to the point of winning a Super Bowl. If we're just talking about winning games, phenomenal. They are a really good roster. I'm not saying they suck, but when we get to the point of winning Super Bowls, there is a difference in what teams that have won them has done and what Dallas has done.
We roll on. It's all about the coaching carousel. Hey, Jeff Saturday, which opening right now, or potential opening, if you're Bill Belichick, is the most attractive to you?
All right, I'm Dallas, but I'm getting off of Dallas because we talk about Dallas all the time. How about the Atlanta Falcons, my hometown? How about that, Bill? Come on back. You just interviewed. They got great skill position. Defense made huge. Terry Fontenot's done a good job of getting them out of salary cap purgatory or hell, wherever they were before that. Listen, this could be a great setup. He's got to bring in a quarterback. That's the only part I'm a little nervous about. But be in Atlanta. Let's go, Bill.
They've interviewed Bill. They've interviewed Harbaugh and many other candidates. Be interesting to watch. Kmart, let's talk about Harbaugh. He has interviewed with Atlanta and the Chargers. What's the better job for him?
Jeff Saturday was so close, but actually it's the Atlanta Falcons. For everything that Jeff Saturday just said. Listen, they got the skill players, they got a defense. I understand they don't have a quarterback, but who can you trust to identify young talent, coach them up, build a winner? Jim Harbaugh.
Hire Belichick and Harbaugh in Atlanta.